However, the race ain't over yet, and we must finish strong, and this could be one of the closest races in history.
Now remember, in 2020, Biden received all 5 votes, Trump 0. Check this out.
Hey, we ready for president?
Let's listen.
3 for Kamala Harris, 3 for Donald Trump. Following the national trends. For governor, 1 for Joyce Craig and 5 for
New Hampshire. The first in the nation ballots cast on election day. It is now official in Dixville Notch. A tie. 3 votes for former President Donald Trump. 3 votes for Vice President Kamala.
What are they foreshadowing? Woo-hoo.
I definitely will not be supporting Kamala Harris. If she ever got anywhere close to power, it would be a disaster for this country. Historically, the Democratic Party has been the party Black people overwhelmingly vote for, but we haven't gotten anything in return. So to me, that's the definition of insanity. I've been a lifelong Democrat. I voted for Biden in 2020, which I do regret now. I come from a family of Democrats. I just felt like after 60 years, our ghetto still shouldn't look like a bomb was dropped in it. The education system and school systems should not still be horribly failing. Crime and the poverty should not be so absolutely abysmal as well. But for so long, we've just been blindly loyal to the Democratic Party for no reason. They have given us no reason to have such loyalty and to maintain such loyalty to them. And many people were doing a lot better under Donald Trump. He implemented opportunity zones for the Black community where it was tax incentive based and it was incentivized investments into the Black neighborhoods, which is what we needed to revitalize our dying economy. Whoever feels like they're not being heard and is interested in conservative policies and conservative politics can look at Donald Trump. And how could you not?
Does she know it's over? She okay? Looks a little depressing. What y'all gonna say? She's tired? She's tired. Yeah, rolling all those celebrities and making all those celebrity phone calls. Yeah, she's tired. Looking through that P. Diddy list. Yeah. Yeah. Please, after tomorrow, please, can we just, can she be done for good? Can we not have to hear or see? I don't know. No more laughing. You know, we got some serious problems, some serious issues to attend to. Please, tomorrow, let it be it. Let it be it.
Voices heard. Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it?
This is sad and pathetic.
We
This is pathetic, man. Pathetic.
Okay, so we're here at the eve of the election, and the early voting data numbers that are coming in are scary to the Democrats and the Kamala Harris campaign. We're also going to talk about the fact that in response, the Trump deranged media, they're now pushing misinformation talking points in order to demoralize, I guess, Republican voters. Why don't we start with probably the biggest story currently right now, which is early voting. And here's Mark Halperin talking about that. Watch.
On the Trump's going to win side in terms of data, the early vote continues to be a problem in terms of how much of a lead she has and the underperformance of Black voters. And let's see tomorrow where we are in Pennsylvania. But I think the delta of the Democratic lead is going to be much smaller than even Democrats said they needed to win Pennsylvania. We'll see. But that's something to watch. In addition, the kind of conventional wisdom amongst Democrats is, and they're buoyed by Ann's poll, is she's closing strong Trumpism. And that undecideds that David Plouffe argued last week are breaking her way. I think right now, people ask me all the time what's going to happen. I think right now, I continue to believe that for a while, it's not going to be close. Either the makeup of the electorate is going to be 55% female and she's going to win, or it's not and she's going to lose. And that could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be different state to state. I think in 6 or 7 of the states, the electorate will be so strongly women and so women so strongly for her that she'll win, or not. And that'd be my guess right now, that it's going to be one way or the other.
So I was thinking about it this morning. One or two things are going to happen. Number one, Roe v. Wade will be the deciding factor of this election. So either the Republicans have massively underestimated the impact of that ruling, or she's just going to lose by a landslide. And the Democrats have underestimated the support for Trump due to their negligence on how they've been handling him as a former president over the past 4 years, and at the same time how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has run this country into the ground. So it remains to be seen, of course. But if we're looking at the numbers, which I'm going to show you here shortly, you're more likely to believe Trump is the one that's going to win here. All right, so let's just take a look at this early voting result so far. Clearly, the Republicans are ahead in Arizona. They're ahead in Georgia. In Michigan, they're slightly behind. Okay. Nevada, they are ahead. Pennsylvania, they are behind. But the thing about Pennsylvania, it's not counting in-person voting. They're only counting mail-in ballots. Now, I like to believe the Republicans are actually ahead, but that remains to be seen, which we're not going to find that out until tomorrow. Now, Wisconsin, Republicans are behind as well, slightly. And the independents are actually outperforming Democrats and Republicans. So the bottom line is this. When we look at the early voting data, this is not where the Democrats want to be. When it comes to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, they actually want to be ahead, and they're not right now. And so that's why Kamala Harris is in some serious trouble, because that usually is the advantage when a Democrat is running for the presidency, is that the early voting, the turnout, is significantly more massive if you're comparing it to the Republicans. And it looks like the Republicans learned their lesson from 2020, and now they're showing up in numbers that we haven't seen from the Republican Party in quite some time. All right, so let's take a look at the Electoral College map based on what we just went over and what some of the predictions could turn out to be and look like on election day when it comes to the Electoral College. Now, clearly, Trump is ahead in Nevada. We'll give him that. He's ahead in Arizona. We'll give him that. He's ahead in Georgia and North Carolina. So if we stop right here, he's at 268. She is still at 212. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you guys this map, because there's a couple of scenarios that are frightening, in my opinion, that I hope we don't experience. Let me knock out that one first. Let's say she wins Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. That puts her at what? 266, and that puts Trump at 268. And it leaves New Hampshire as the deciding factor. Okay? So that is a big deal. So if I turn to New Hampshire for Trump, that's 272. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope whoever wins, they win by a landslide, right? Now, there is another scenario, which is fascinating, where she could win Nevada, and Trump is at 266, and she's at 272. They say that Nevada is going to take about 4 days to count. And so the reason why I want to show you guys this scenario first is I hope this doesn't happen, but I like to talk about it to prepare ourselves mentally, is this scenario right here. We're on election day or the following day, we're sitting at this number here, 266 to 266. We're waiting for Nevada to decide the election. Nobody's really talking about this, but it is a possibility, by the way. All right, scenario number 2. That doesn't happen, right? He wins Nevada, and then all he has to do is pick up one of these states. Let's say Wisconsin, and he's at 282. That's still assuming he wins New Hampshire. Even if I put New Hampshire in the column for Kamala Harris, he's still at 278. All right, so one way or another, I went over this before previously, it really just comes down to, can she sweep the Rust Belt? And if she can, she has a great chance of becoming the next president. If she can't and she loses one of those states, I mean, the likelihood of him becoming the next president is extremely high. It doesn't matter what happens with Nevada at that point. Now that you guys have kind of heard my opinion about how I see this election moving forward, because I told you guys it's only two things. One, the Republicans have massively underestimated Roe v. Wade, and women will blow Trump out of the water. Or two, the Democrats have massively underestimated Trump's support, the contrast between his administration and Joe Biden, the destruction the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris administration has done on the border and the economy. So, of course, why don't we hear from someone who is Democrat, who was the former campaign manager for Obama, speak to these sentiments? Listen to this.
Okay, what's their biggest concern right now if you're the Harris team?
Well, look, I think it's a couple things. The early vote numbers are a little scary, and you and I have been texting back and forth. Republicans didn't do what they did last time. Last time Trump said don't early vote, and so they didn't. Republicans do have an advantage in early vote numbers. When the early vote come in, it's going to look a little bit different than 2020, and that's scary.
Yeah, so if I'm the Democrats, I'm definitely worried. If I'm Kamala Harris, I'm definitely worried, no question, because really what it's going to come down to is the turnout. And are we going to have women turn out in numbers we've never seen before? This is why you're continuing to see these cringe moments from Kamala Harris. Listen, just watch this, please.
Thank you. Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win. All right, let's get to work. 24 hours to go. And
now, of course, the Democrat Party, they're not ahead and they're not where they want to be. And the reason to that is probably because they truly don't understand how big of a shift has taken place politically in this country, where there's certain demographics that are no longer aligning with the Democratic Party and has now aligned with the Republican Party. And that's why some of the polls may have been missing that particular pieces of information. Listen to this.
Let's recognize what I think a couple of your guests have already said, which is the Trump voter is a different voter today than the Republican voter of 20 years ago. In fact, the Trump voter of today was a Democratic voter of 20 years ago.
Many of them.
And going back to Pennsylvania, if you get those people in the middle of the state, blue-collar jobs, middle-class people to turn out, right, then Trump wins. And it's very hard. It's very hard for pollsters to do that because it's new. It's not patterns that you've seen in the past.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's why some of the people don't believe the polls and why they keep missing how much Trump support exists, because it's hard to reach people in these rural areas, these working class people. They're working all day long. They don't have time to answer a call from a pollster. I mean, let me ask you, when's the last time you actually spoke to a pollster? I never have.
I ain't never spoke.
I don't believe you have either. Now, let's hear what Vivek Ramaswamy had to say about the election. Watch.
What are you feeling and what are you hearing? So look, Jesse, I'm going to tell it to you like I see it. There's two possibilities here. One is we all have our heads stuck in our algorithmic echo chambers and we're seeing one view of the world. And I'd like to think that's not the case. The other possibility, which I think is going to be the case, is that Trump wins this decisively. And I think he has an opportunity to do something historic, not just win an election, but to actually rebuild the Republican coalition, a multi-ethnic, working-class coalition of voters that have redefined the Republican Party, that does what Reagan last did in the 1980s. That's the last time I think we will have seen this kind of election. So I hope I'm not eating my words 48 hours or 72 hours from now, but I don't think I will be. I think that we're seeing the makings of history right now. And I think it could be the single event that not only wins this election, but unites the country. And that's why I'm encouraging everybody I'm talking to. I was in Pennsylvania. I was at the Penn State-Ohio State game. I was telling people the same thing, is November 5th is not the destination. It is the start line for reviving this country. I think people are hungry for it, and I think we feel pretty good, Jesse.
Yeah, so I firmly agree with him. I told you there's just two scenarios here. Now, before I go any further, please do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below, grab yourself some merch, or buy us a cup of coffee. Now, listen, obviously, there are a lot of people looking at these numbers, and it's not looking good for the Democrats. And that's why it has led to the Trump deranged media running misinformation on their platforms about Trump. And now they're at the point where they're attacking Trump supporters. Yes, I know. Listen to this.
I will ask the question that I think is a fair question to ask. Who raised these people?
Yeah.
Because they were not raised by anybody in my neighborhoods that I grew up, any middle-class neighborhoods that I grew up in, these people were not there. They were not raised. I mean, they weren't in the classes I went to growing up in elementary or middle or high school or college. They just weren't there. That wasn't the America I grew up in, where people would laugh at the idea of people of the press getting shot. Like, everybody would like sit around and like, what? What's he talking about? Or again,
laughing at the Puerto Rican
other
joke.
things, laughing at the Puerto Rican joke.
My God,
that Puerto Ricans are a pile of trash.
They see his Puerto Rican endorsements. That's what I'm saying, man. These people are just so deranged, soft, woke, sensitive, liars. And then you got criminals sitting up there, hands behind your back,
laughing at a 82, 83-year-old man being bludgeoned nearly to death. That's an applause line. That's a laugh line. Again, who are these people?
You know what's funny is they give too much credit to Trump. They think Trump is the reason people think this way. That's how out of touch they are. People were already thinking this way before Trump came onto the scene. Okay? That's what happened. And it's what's going to continue to happen until people like Joe Scarborough wakes up and says, hey, maybe it's not really about Trump. Maybe it's about our messaging. Maybe it's about the fact that the people in Washington are not really doing what they keep saying that they're going to do. And sooner or later, that has consequences. But hey, that takes someone who has some type of emotional maturity, who's able to exercise common sense, of course. And I know Joe Scarborough does not have it. Now, MSNBC was not finished. Now they're attacking Elon Musk. Watch.
But this group of mega donors, bigger donors than we ever have seen, the likes of Elon Musk, who's campaigning more and harder than any business person, who might end up with an official or unofficial role in a Donald Trump administration. What do you think about all this? And what are people telling you?
Well, I think it's really scary territory. You know, we have some billionaires in this country, and if you look at the top 10 donors to Donald Trump, they've given over $1 billion to him.
Just the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, and that was not counting how much more Musk has spent. Musk is in Pennsylvania. He thinks because he can do rockets and electric cars that he can figure out how to get people to vote.
Okay, so just a couple things. Number one, misinformation, okay? If there's anyone who's raised $1 billion in this election cycle, that was Kamala Harris. Do we need to remind you? In fact, you know where Trump gets most of his money? Through small donations. $10 here, $10 there, $5 here, $50 here. He's the only candidate in history to literally campaign on small donors. Okay, that doesn't mean he doesn't have big donors, because he does. But if you compare where he gets a bulk of his money compared to Kamala Harris, where she gets bulk of her money, is different. It's night and day. And that's why she's at $1 billion and he's not. So that's misinformation. Number two, the nerve of that woman to speak on Elon Musk like he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt that maybe he knows what he's doing and you guys don't. Because if you guys knew what you were doing, you wouldn't be in this position to begin with, and Kamala Harris would not be your candidate. So stop it. Now, surprisingly, the attacks don't end. Now they're going to just straight up lies that have been clearly debunked by the media themselves. And you have CNN now pushing the whole Charlottesville hoax again.
I think that we need to remember exactly his words, that words matter, to your point, Jamal. And Scott, you're right. The former president did get hurt, but it's not the first time. Let's remember Charlottesville. Let's remember January 6th. All of those events ended in tragedy, and all of those events were spurred on and inspired by the words that came out of the former president's mouth.
How did he inspire Charlottesville?
He went out.
I knew Scott was gonna say something like, "Come on now." People are sick of this crap, man.
There and said both sides are
that was after
good
the rally.
people.
You said he caused the rally.
Okay, Scott, the words that the former president says, and you know this, you have that skeptical face, but
yes, I'm skeptical that he caused
this
Charlottesville.
Is true. Yes, I do think he did cause Charlottesville, because those people that were
who's causing the rallies on campuses right now?
Those people that were marching.
Who's causing the rallies in the streets of New York?
Let me finish. Those people that were marching in support of one person. They were marching in support of Donald Trump. And they were marching in support of what Donald Trump represents.
Yeah, now we know she has a serious case of Trump derangement syndrome. She's too emotional about all of this.
Stage 4.
She has zero ability to be impartial. She can't even criticize her own party. And then to go to the level of blaming Donald Trump for Charlottesville, the whole fine people hoax that has already been debunked many, many times over.
So many times.
I just find that to be laughable. And I'm surprised that they didn't step in during that panel and fact check her. Because I guarantee if Scott Jennings had did something in that regard, they would have cut him off and they would have tried to fact check him right then and there. But we know who CNN is, even though they try to act like they are impartial or better than MSNBC. They are all Trump deranged in the end. And they definitely have been running a lot of misinformation campaigns when it comes to Trump. Now, obviously, this is coming from the top. And what I mean by that is former President Obama is running the same lie. Listen to this.
Maybe you're Muslim American or Jewish American, and you are heartbroken and furious about the ongoing bloodshed in the Middle East and worried about the rise of anti-Semitism. Why would you place your faith in somebody who instituted a so-called Muslim ban, who sat down for pleasantries with Holocaust deniers?
He wants his 4th term. Get him
Who
off
said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
Now, the only reason why he would go to that level, right? The president who says he stands for unity, respect, would never get into toxic rhetoric. Why would he start playing at the level of Donald Trump? Because they're desperate. They know they're not where they need to be. They know they're behind when it comes to early voting. They know that she's a weak candidate.
Yes, here with a handful of hours to go. I mean, she doesn't have to attack Donald Trump, I guess, because she's done it every single day of the campaign since she got into it. It's been a relentlessly negative and relentlessly dishonest campaign. And here at the end, they want credit for trying to be positive and unifying after a week of Republicans are Nazis, Republicans are garbage, Republican women are weak and stupid. So I get it. I understand why they would want to tout this one time that she didn't relentlessly go negative and dishonest against Donald Trump. But to me, the bulk of the campaign is obvious. It is they are betting all their chips on there's just enough people in the country who hate or are willing to fear Donald Trump to win. That's about all they've got.
Try to play the same game that Donald Trump plays. That's a losing strategy for them. That's why it doesn't work. In fact, when they started talking that way, it started to alienate undecided voters and independents. They don't appreciate that type of rhetoric, especially coming from the Democratic Party, who prides themselves on saying this is the party of joy and democracy. All right, so when I look at this election, I see it as a bigger picture thing, which is this. People who don't like Trump, to the point where they have Trump derangement syndrome, they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. Full stop. Then people who actually hate Joe Biden, but they don't really have Trump derangement syndrome, even though they don't like Trump, they're going to vote for Trump or third party. They're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. This is why you've seen her lose so many endorsements that a normal Democratic candidate would have gotten. Okay. And that's why she's losing the blue collar vote, the union vote, minorities. They're just not resonating with her as a candidate. So when you look at the bigger picture of things, it comes down to what I've been saying in this entire video. Either the Republicans have massively underestimated Roe v. Wade and the abortion conversation and women on election day, because currently right now, early voting data is actually down when it comes to females. So on election day, are females going to show up and vote in numbers we've never seen before? Or two, have the Democrats massively underestimated the support that Trump has for a multitude of reasons? Because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris failed on the economy, immigration, foreign policy, the lawfare that has been obviously directed at Trump, and the just gross incompetence of this administration to make it appear that they are very biased against him. The fact that people are up at night trying to figure out how they're going to pay for this or that. I mean, one way or another, we're going to see which party has massively underestimated the other one tomorrow. But so far right now, we see in the early voting data a problem for Kamala Harris. I believe she's definitely in trouble. And but again, that doesn't mean she's going to lose. but it definitely means that she's not where they would rather be, if that makes sense. So what is your guys' opinion?
Boy. Yeah. Took that in. I know. Yes, indeed, man. We are a couple hours out, y'all. And I hope coming tonight that we can crack open a cold one. I believe we're gonna crack open a cold one. I'm getting there in the cooler already. You know, we might be planning a huge live stream. We've done such an amazing job, man, this year, and I feel like us creators, like, you know, Davari, it's just so many amazing creators out there. Independent media, we have done such an amazing job, y'all. You know, and a ton of you guys call our channels the backbone of the Trump campaign. You know, but we've done such an amazing job exposing the corruption, showing what they don't want to show you. You know, calling out the propaganda, the lies, the mainstream media, man, time and time after again. Trump deranged people, man. Stage 4. The misinformation. The cheap fakes, the deep fakes. Just can't make it up, man. But I believe we stand loud and proud tomorrow, you guys, and that everything happened for a reason. You know? Everything happened for a reason, man. And that DJT is going to be the 47th president. I believe that, man. I really do. But an amazing video. Thank y'all for stopping by. And I'm wishing the best in all you guys' life, man. See y'all in a couple hours. And I will catch you beautiful people in the next one, man. Peace and love, y'all.